I love running the streets of New Haven. I love smoking crack because I tell people I was smoking like a cookout back then. I say I'm a workaholic. Mm-hmm. I got to chase that money. No, I need to make extra money to compensate for the fact that I'm ill-equipped or unwilling to budget my money properly. So I make more money to overcompensate for the fact that I got a spending problem.
That's the fact.
I stayed away from the family because I love my family.
Yeah.
I love my family fiercely. Mm-hmm. Your mother was the first one that turned me on to smoking crack.
I did right there. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Name one thing you've learned from your success. Any success. Nothing. We celebrate success. We learn from failures.
Level up, break the cycle, bro, level up, love your image.
All praise to the Most High, my God, and my brother. They said we live, man.
Hey, we back, brother.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Destined by Design podcast. My name is Wes.
I'm C.
Listen, just want to let y'all know, man, Connecticut is in the building, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straight from Torrington, Connecticut, right? The guy I have for y'all today, man, I'm telling you, is a guy that I hold in high regard. He is a program manager for 2 prison reentry programs out in Torrington, Connecticut. He's also a clinic. Actually, you're a licensed substance abuse clinician, correct?
Not licensed, certified.
Certified.
Okay.
About to be licensed, though.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
That's coming down the
coming.
pipe. Listen, I want y'all to welcome my first cousin.
Respect.
Mr. Gordon Lyde to the podcast, man.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming over here, man, because you know what, Gordon, you are one of the first people that came to mind when we started thinking about bringing on guests.
Facts.
I had always brought that up, right? I'm not bullshit,
for
right?
a minute,
Like,
for months.
Appreciate that.
For months.
because I always felt like your story has so much power to it. I felt like you are the person that comes to mind when you think of resiliency. Someone when you think of, somebody who has battled through past experiences and has become literally a role model to a lot of people. You're an inspiration in our family, bro. I just want to let you know that. So that's the reason why, above, with a whole bunch, a lot of other things, the reasons why I wanted you to be a guest on this podcast. Today's episode, not even gonna lie, we never script anything. No. But today's episode, we can't even really put a clear title on it because I feel like it's going to be wide ranging because you have so much knowledge to impart on us at this point. We were at dinner last night and you brought up something, and I guess we could start there, where we wanted you to come on and we wanted you to talk about how, your upbringing and how you battled through a lot of traumatic experiences, and for some way we got around to talking about people saying that marijuana was a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Right? And you said that's not actually right.
No, it's not.
You said that trauma was.
Trauma.
Explain that to us.
Okay. So the first time I heard it, this comedian, Russell Brand, he had put it out there that there was a misconception that marijuana was the gateway drug because that's always where that experimentation phase starts.
Yeah.
Smoke a little pot. But that's not true. Trauma is actually the gateway. I don't know if you could call it a drug, but it's that gateway piece.
Yeah.
Because without the trauma, why do individuals continue to use?
Yeah.
Despite adverse consequences, which is the definition of abuse.
Yeah.
Continue use despite adverse consequences, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so much the enjoyment of the substance or the high. Mm-hmm. It's the effectiveness of the byproduct or side effect of the high, which is the numbing effect. Mm-hmm. I no longer care about my mother leaving me.
Sure.
I no longer care about her leaving me. I no longer care about the abuse, the abandonment, the degradation. None of that matters right now because I'm numb.
Yeah, and I think there's a misconception, right? Because people generally think they attribute people that use, they just are in love with a drug.
Yes.
Right.
And the thing about it, a lot of times the individual themselves, they think that's what it is.
Oh, okay. Wow.
They don't even realize. See, there's a lot of ignorance, and ignorance being lack of information around the addiction part, even from the point of the individual. Mm-hmm. Like, I look back now, like they say, retrospect is 2020. You look in that rearview mirror, I can see all my mistakes, right? I can see all my misinformation.
Yep.
Because I can look at it from a vantage point where I know more now.
Sure.
Because I thought at one point that I was just loved getting high. Mm-hmm. I love running the streets of New Haven. I love smoking crack. Because I tell people I was smoking like a cookout back then. But there was no real enjoyment. Mm. It stopped being fun long before I stopped.
Wow.
It became a job. It became a necessity. I needed to continue doing this so I can no longer care about what happened. That became my sole purpose.
Yeah.
To not feel. Mm. Because if I was to feel, potentially I could feel some of the stuff I've been trying to avoid for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I continued doing that. Even though the consequences, I knew what they were coming. It's like we talked about in dinner last night when I told you I can map out a prison bid from a squad car.
Yo, do that again. That right there, I'm telling you, man, blew my mind. Watch this.
All right, so this is what I mean, and I share this with a lot of my participants that I work with. Mapping out prison bid from a squad car. That shows you how familiar the consequence is. So say I'm in New Haven, I get picked up on Dixwell Avenue. I know what type of crimes I've been committing. So I know what charges are going to come. If I'm stealing, I'm going to get larcenies. If I'm robbing, I'm going to get that robbery charge. So I've been through the system enough. I know exactly what the charge and what the time's going to carry. So when they pick me up dead to right. It was never a false identity or mistake. They got the right person because they caught me dead to right because it wasn't an arrest. It was a rescue. I was tired. You just caught me. Good. Sure. So I'm sitting in the back. So I know exactly what you're going to charge me with. And I know what the bond is going to be. And it really doesn't matter the bond because I'm not going to make anything. People will pay money for me to stay in there. No. They're not going to pay to get me out. So, and then I know I'm going to do I'm going to be in Whaley Avenue. I'm going to do the bullpen therapy. I'm going to go to court a few times. Rule of thumb, you don't take the first offer. You always wait till the second and third or till they say we're going to pick a jury because you want them to drop down the numbers that you can handle. And see, once you cop out, you know where you're going to go because Connecticut sends you to the same prisons. I always went to Shaker Road. Mm-hmm. I went to Carl Robinson, Enfield, or Summers. And I always go back there. Yep. So I know exactly where I'm going to go. So once I get to Carl Robinson, I know I'm going to apply at addiction service to do some tier programs. Because if I do the tier programs, that gets me to the MAP program, which gets me to the parole board a year early. Once I get to the parole board, I can sell ice cream to an Eskimo. So I'm just selling myself. So who knows me better than me? I'm going to make parole. Once I make parole, now I have a discharge date. I'm within 18 months from a discharge date. I'm halfway house eligible. Now, with a halfway house, they're going to send out my package. My package is going to go to New Haven. Chances are I'm going to go to Walter Brooks. I know at least 30 dudes that work at some factory within New Haven that I can call and be like, yo, Chico, I'm getting out I need a job. He's going to tell me who to contact so I can get a job. Now I'm working in the halfway house, saving money to get out. I have figured all this out. I haven't been fingerprinted yet. I'm still sitting in the backseat of the squad car. I have mapped out that whole prison bid.
I thought he already did his time.
I am still in the backseat, so that's just how familiar the consequences are.
Yeah.
There's no uncertainty.
Yeah, you know exactly what's happening.
Yeah, you know play by play.
So I know exactly what I'm in for. It's going to be uncomfortable, but the biggest thing that individuals would change, especially with addiction, is the uncertainty part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Familiar
100%.
pain is familiar pain.
Sure.
So we would go with something familiar. So that's where individuals stay stuck. So they'll stay locked into that. Mm-hmm. And that's just like where it starts. Yeah. Where it starts with that. Yeah. Take me back to where we were supposed to go, because that's just one of those organic conversations that spun out.
No, we were just talking about, you had brought that up, but one thing we talked about at dinner, and I don't know if it aligns with what we're talking about, and I'm just bringing up things that we discussed early on. Well, you was talking about pain. And I imagine that when somebody experiences trauma, they go through a lot of pain. And you said something that kind of struck me. You said that pain has no memory, but all memories have pain in it.
Exactly.
Explain what you meant by that.
So when I say pain has no memory, but memories are full of pain, I'll give you the analogy. If everybody has sprained their ankle, has rolled your ankle, and it's swollen, it's throbbing, you feel that heartbeat in your ankle. Yeah. It's right there. The pain is like intense, so much that you have a radar. If anybody gets too close to it, you'll be like, whoa, back up, my ankle. Yeah. But after a few weeks, the pain subsides. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you even forget that you actually hurt your ankle and you go take a step too fast and you're reminded, oh, it's still tender.
Yes.
That's the same thing with any type of pain, psychological, emotional, whatever.
Yeah.
We are conditioned to move past it. Once you don't feel it, you throw it in the back trunk and don't think about it anymore as if it didn't exist.
Sure.
Why do you think people go back to bad relationships?
Yeah.
They forget just how bad it was.
Yep.
They only focus on the good. We are mentally conditioned to forget the worst times.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because the worst times is where all the information is.
Yeah.
Where all the lessons are.
Yeah.
We always looking for this gratification, so even in the memories, we only want to remember the good.
Huh. That's crazy. And I always wonder why people who experience, for like just like you said, bad relationships, why go back to someone that you know is going to bring you any kind of pain?
It's familiar.
And that's crazy.
I know. I'll go back to her because I know her. I know her likes, her dislikes. I know her crazy. Her crazy lines up with my crazy.
Yeah.
Now, to go find someone new, now that requires deliberate, intentional work.
Yeah.
Facts.
I have to really pay attention to you.
Yeah.
I have to be present with you. With this one, I don't have to be present. I know she's crazy. I just know what's coming. Mm-hmm. I can navigate those waters.
Sure.
And every once in a while, when I need to get a whack and start a fight.
That's real.
You know, you start those fights.
Yeah.
Why are you washing dishes so loud? I can't even concentrate.
Straight up.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here, yeah. I like that. Well, I mean, it's like that saying where they say it's better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't.
And see, that's another thing we talked about, those little sayings that gets passed around and regurgitated through society, and we take as literal facts.
Sure.
And it's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yes, man.
It's not
right.
true.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves these things because they sound good.
Yeah.
We talked about when you say you're a people person.
Yeah.
No, not a people person. Mm-hmm. You're just afraid of being alone.
Yeah, and that was a fact, bro. It's about how you framed it, man.
I say I'm a workaholic. Mm-hmm. I got to chase that money. No. I need to make extra money to compensate for the fact that I'm ill-equipped or unwilling to budget my money properly. So I make more money to overcompensate for the fact that I got a spending problem.
That's the fact.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And we can't get better, whether it's addiction or any part of life, until we learn to be honest with ourselves.
It struck me, man, because I never thought of it that way. When I get on this podcast and I say, yo, I'm addicted to people. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't not be around people or I have this affinity for having somebody in my life. Like, that wasn't the case. And when you said that, I was like, to keep it honest, if I'm being 100% with myself, I don't like the feeling of lonely. That's really what it is.
Exactly. And we can't get better until we tell ourselves the truth. If the truth doesn't start with us, how can we share our truth with someone?
That's true. That's true.
I say I'm a perfectionist.
The truth is,
I'm not a perfectionist. I just don't want you to see how flawed I am.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
I don't want you to change how you see me. Mm-hmm. So I need to dress some stuff up.
Yeah.
I need to take. Can I curse up here?
Absolutely.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I got to listen. Trust me. I need to. I'm still on many levels taking that bowl of shit, putting a tuxedo and a top hat on it.
Yeah.
And thinking it's anything more than a well-dressed bowl of shit.
Right.
Because it's easier to do that than to clean out the bowl and put some real stuff in it.
That's real. That's real.
So I'm not a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest procrastinator.
Right.
I'm the biggest procrastinator.
Right.
But through the years, I've developed this gift of gab. My presentation will look like I did a lot of work on this.
Yeah.
And I didn't start this till like 5 minutes before.
It's crazy, bro.
It's a lot of window dressing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really do anything to change that till I developed the honesty needed to really take a look at some things.
And at what point did you actually like come to the realization? Now we'll talk about it because you did some time. You know, you said that you can pretty much map out your prison bed from the squad cars. Well, we already know that you've been involved. Right?
A little bit.
So I'm guessing, was your time where you spent locked down, did you have moments of clarity? Was it then when you decided I'm done with my mess?
No.
Okay.
I've had many moments of clarity on that because you have nothing but time.
Sure.
You can reevaluate any situation.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing but time to reflect upon things.
Yep.
So you develop this very good plan. The only problem is you have no follow through.
Right.
So, but the point in which I changed had nothing to do with prison. Like I told you last night, my change happened December 22nd, 2008, Welly Avenue, the Regal Inn on Welly Avenue in New Haven. I was ending the party of my life. I was coming off a almost 30-day crack binge that I committed a robbery the day before Thanksgiving. I stole $36,000 from my ex-girlfriend's brother. I told him not to play with me, and he took me for a joke, so I robbed him. And then I went on a crack run.
Right.
And December 22nd, 2008, it was Regal Inn, room 217 at 12:15 that afternoon. I had that moment of clarity in which I felt a level of misery. I was like on a cellular level.
Wow.
Every fiber of my being was screaming, I can't do two things. I don't want to die and I don't want to go to prison. And if I continue where I'm at, one or both is going to happen.
For sure.
So the best thing I was able to do was grab my clothes, money, left all the drugs. And mind you, it was the party of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got all these yes people, got women there half dressed. I got guys that's sitting there. Anything. I tell a corny joke, they'll laugh. They'll do anything they want because I got a pile of crack cocaine right there.
Sure.
So, but I took the money and my clothes. I rented another room, and I called Carnes Wheats, which is the drug facility in which I went and got clean at. Years later, I came back to work there as well. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, right.
But so I called there and they said, "Are you in a safe place?" Because I had been there before earlier that year.
Okay.
And I said yes. They said, keep calling every day. We don't have a bed available. So I went to Stop and Shop in Amity. I got a pound of bologna, pound of cheese, a loaf of bread, and some red Kool-Aid.
Yep.
This stuff was strong. It stained the nightstand.
Right.
Fucking red Kool-Aid stain there. So I locked myself in that room, and for 2 days I called there, and on Christmas Eve of 2008, they said, hey, Gordon, we got a bed. I took a cab from New Haven all the way to Torrington with all my worldly possessions. I had about $1,800 left. Yeah, I was smoking like a cookout.
Smoking, bro.
Ooh, like a cookout in the Navajo Chief.
That's crazy.
And I walked in that door with the that attic luggage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Made by Hefty.
Yeah.
So I had some brand new Carmelo 1 Jordans. Couple of sweatsuits, $1,800, and some odd things in there. I don't even remember exactly what it was. That was my worldly possessions.
That's it.
And I walked in there, and the man who is now my sponsor, he was a counselor there named Tom. Mm-hmm. He said, Gordon, what was it like out there? And I said, Tom, whatever you ask me to do, I will do.
Wow. You just reached a point.
Yeah, and I had no idea I was going to go to college. I had no idea what life had in store for me. I just knew I didn't want what was behind me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just started moving forward.
Yeah. You know what's strange, man, is that I always heard stories about you, Gordon, and it's wild because you're my
probably
first cousin.
Was true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, judging from a lot of the stories that you tell, I imagine a lot of things that I heard about you, but you were almost like a myth. Like, I heard a lot about you, but I never really started to see you a lot. I would see you here and there, but I never saw you a lot, and I was just always wondering, like, what the heck?
I stayed away from the family because I love my family.
Yeah.
I love my family fiercely. Mm-hmm. When I say I would lay down my life and I would tear up a whole neighborhood over my family, I mean that.
I believe you.
I mean that. I was a mess out there.
Yeah.
I was that dude you really didn't want to cross. Mm-hmm. But I was afraid that something would happen to you guys because I was around you.
Gotcha.
And I could not live with the fact that you, your brother, your mother, any of them got hurt because I was in your presence. So I stayed away. And I'd never let anyone know my last name out there in the street.
Oh, wow, really?
Because I didn't look like everyone in the family. So you wouldn't look at me and make that connection. But if you heard our last name,
you know,
Lyde is kind of, it's there's not just a common name,
No,
so
it's
you
not.
knew who you were connected with.
Yeah.
So I didn't want anything to happen, so I purposely stayed away. Even my daughter, I stayed away from her.
Wow. Dang. You know what's crazy, man, is we were talking, and I forget how we even got on the subject, man, but we were talking about social norms.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you said before we could even get into a lot of things about, why you decided to, become drug addicted, how you went to jail, because sometimes those things are just like kind of a rite of passage. Can you explain to me social norms and how we even get to that point?
Yeah. First, let me just clarify. I didn't decide to become an addict.
Okay.
I just that shit just happened. That wasn't like on my list of shit to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop out of high school. I'm gonna go meet a girl. Then I'm gonna get addicted to crack. It
Right.
wasn't like that. That just came with it. But see, with the social norms, like I was trying to explain, and I talked to UNC about, everyone has their own norm. It's like what's familiar. So I can't identify that something's odd in my behavior if everyone around me is doing it.
Sure.
Like in inner cities across the nation, there's certain activities that take place that no one looks as odd.
Yeah.
Like going to prison, it's not odd, especially when it's almost considered a rite of passage.
Yeah.
You were celebrated when you come home from prison. You don't see too many parties. They're not popping bottles because you got a master's, but you do a bid, you held it down. You're an OG. You're a general now.
Yeah.
You're celebrated. Hustling in the street, violence, that's a norm.
Yep.
It's so familiar that individuals have this philosophy. They'll rather walk around a pistol and not need it than need it and not have it.
No doubt.
It's like, and they share that information like, what do you mean you don't get that?
Yep.
So that's a norm. And for me to change and start looking at the possibility of becoming a better human being, I had to look at what was normal. And as you know, our family is full of addiction.
Straight up. Yeah.
Everybody, every get together growing up, there was always a crew in the back doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We had uncles that used to show up to cookouts, and we knew what was underneath that paper towel and that can that they were sipping.
Oh, man. Yeah.
There was always something.
Yep.
It was so common that I got high for the first time with older aunts and uncles.
Oh, really?
They introduced me to using.
Yeah. That's crazy.
All right, I'm going to put it out there.
Go
I don't
ahead,
care if
man.
she
Why
get
not?
mad. Your mother was the first one that turned me on to smoking crack.
I did see right there. I didn't know that. I did not know that. You learn something new every day.
Because at that time, I was still sniffing cocaine.
Okay.
And
there's a difference.
She would borrow money from me, and I was like, listen, if I'm going to, what is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll pay for this. What is that?
I need to know.
Put me on.
Yeah.
Show me how to do that. And that's how I was introduced to it.
That's crazy, man. Now, when you think back on that, I mean, obviously, that's a traumatic experience, right?
When I look at it now,
Sure.
back then it wasn't. I didn't view it as traumatic. I viewed it as, she just showed me how to like really get high.
Yeah, I'm about to say, she put you on.
Yeah, she just showed me how to get the effect I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was like, good looking. You showed me how to go from 0 to 80.
Yeah.
Jupiter.
But see, that's the thing about the social norm part.
She must have thought that was normal.
Yes. And see, that's why I didn't view it as traumatic, because with the lifestyle I was living, that was viewed as a good thing.
Yeah.
See, that's just the problem. Like, I have participants, especially young men, that come into my office, and some of my intakes involved with me asking about trauma. And one of the questions is very, very detailed about trauma, and it's all inclusive. Have you ever experienced any type of trauma, whether it was within the home, in the neighborhood, street violence, natural violence, fire, hurricanes, anything?
Yeah.
It's so inclusive. And these individuals will look me straight in the face and be like, no. And I'm like, where are you from?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm from Kensington Street. Seriously? So you never heard shooting? Oh, they're shooting all the time. I watch so-and-so, yada, yada. And how many times you been locked up? Your number starts with a 1.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been to jail 4 or 5 times. Let me help you. That's traumatic.
Sure. Yeah.
No, that's just what happens in the hood. And we look at that because that's part of our norm.
Sure.
When everyone in our neighborhood is doing that, I don't have a drinking problem. Everyone drinks. Even the bum on the corner and Mr. Smith that has 3 kids that works every day, he grabs a 40 on the way home. Everybody drinks. Yeah. So how is that a bad thing when everyone around me is doing it?
Yeah. And I think you said it earlier, or maybe when we were at dinner last night, you said you don't really know that it's not normal until you get out of your environment and realize, oh, not everybody operates in that way.
Exactly. We don't know what we don't know.
Sure.
Someone has to show us what we don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's real.
That's true.
We try to preach that all the time to our kids. Working in the detention center, you see a lot of kids who have a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I think all people are born good. They just born into certain circumstances and environments that they've just adjusted. They've adapted to their environment and they do certain things. And a lot of times they don't see anything wrong with it. You see a kid that has robbery charges. Why are you robbing people? Like, well, I needed something. They had it. I took it. And they have no remorse really for it. And I'm like, bro, that's not normal, right? Like, you got to understand, like, the way the world works is if you want something, you go out there and you work for it.
But that's only because you were taught that.
I'm about to say you saw it.
Yeah.
See, remorse is something that's shown and taught. Mm-hmm. If they live in an environment or a household where remorse and things like that is not being shown, and those type of negative behaviors are being condoned,
sure,
why would I see that as wrong?
True.
When my uncle and all of them and everyone around me, they have no problem with robbing something.
Right. So
I want to be just like them because we all want to be like an older relative or some older person in the neighborhood we look up to.
Right.
So if we want to be like them, we're going to try to emulate what they do. So once we start emulating that behavior, how can I see it's wrong? I want to be like him. He's like a god to me.
Sure, yeah.
So there's this huge disconnect in what is right or wrong. It's true. Right or wrong, I firmly believe, and I try to teach this, is purely relative.
True. Mm-hmm.
We want to think there's universal right or wrong. Mm-hmm. It's really not. It's purely relative based on that person's surroundings, culture, environment, and what they're taught. It's purely just that.
Yeah.
And it's not until they are allowed to experience other things so they have a different reference point to sit there and be like, oh, this ain't right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know something was, that wall was white unless you had something black to compare it to. You know what I mean? You got to have something else.
Sure. No doubt.
You need that full range of view to really analyze where you're at and where you want to go.
That's real. And
a lot of our youth, it's not just our youth, it's just a lot of our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Individuals never leave. Their whole world is based on a 1 mile radius, if that.
Bro, you ain't lying.
And so everything that they know is based in this area.
Yeah.
It's just like prison, where prison's the same way. There's rules in prison that only apply and make sense in prison. They govern the prison life. Yeah. Those shits you can't use those out there.
Right.
Like,
that's here's the thing. Go back, right?
Check this out, right? Say we were just out eating, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I got up from the table and all of a sudden went like this.
Yeah.
What would you guys do?
Wonder what the hell you doing.
If you guys had a prison record like mine, you know what you would have done?
What's that?
Knocked right back.
Why is that?
Because that's like a signal like, yo, I'm out of here. Good looking. I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
It only applies in prison, and no one knows where that mess started.
Okay.
But because in that environment, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. You just can't go to a restaurant and start knocking on tables.
Because I don't know. For me, I'm going to look at you. I'm like, what the hell going on here?
Exactly. It's just one of those things that unless you had something else to base a reference point to look at, you don't look at the insanity of certain behavior or the validity of certain behavior. You have to have something to compare it to.
Sure. That's real. That's real. Real quick, Gordon, and C got this slogan that he always say at the end of every podcast. He was talking about, he said failure is not an option. And when we were discussing our last podcast yesterday when we were out to dinner, and you said failure is based on pure hubris, right?
Yes.
Let's explain that.
Failure is, I was thinking about this, and I will stand by this. Mm-hmm. Failure is a byproduct of pure hubris. Mm-hmm. We think that we know where the certain outcome. Mm-hmm. Because in one hand, we sit there and be like, all praise to the Most High and all this, and everything is like you saying, your name, destined by design. There's a grand design to things.
Sure.
So if there's a grand design, there's a grand author. And if I'm going to dictate how the outcome should be, what am I, the grand author?
Right.
So now, because things didn't work out the way I want to label them a failure. Mm-hmm. I want to label them a mistake. When did it become a mistake? Because at some point, that was the best decision you can make given all the circumstances.
Yep.
And I love using relationships as an example of that. Mm-hmm. Because you may look at old girl now, that was a bad one. But don't you remember when you brought her to your mama and them?
Exactly. That's the decision you ever made in your life.
And it became a mistake because the end result wasn't what you wanted.
Right.
Or you thought you should have.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was real striking. I was like, that's real.
And failure, other than just being a byproduct of hubris, failure should be an option.
Explain.
Better yet, I got a question. Name one thing you've learned from your success. Any success. I challenge anyone to tell me one thing you've ever learned from a success.
Well, I could say, like, if I'm successful at, like, I don't even know. I can't even say.
I was over here like, I'm not about to.
Nothing. We celebrate success. We learn from failures.
I've heard that before. Okay.
That's right.
I see what you
When you ride a bike, when you learned how to ride a bike, it wasn't until you didn't get balance until you fell a few times you learned how to
control it. Yeah.
Exactly. We should embrace failures. Will Smith has this short clip that says,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Fail early, because the sooner we fail, the sooner we start learning.
Okay.
Fail often, so we're always constantly learning. Mm-hmm. And most importantly, fail forward, not backwards. Fail, learn something new, not repeating the old. Yeah. So fail forward. So we should look at some of those bad relationships, those mistakes, those bad jobs. We should actually go back to them and say, thank you.
Yeah.
I became a better human being as a result of you. However painful it might have been, I became better after I got through that.
Yeah. That's
so
real.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So failure should be an option because it's a learning curve. It's how we get better.
Yeah. I feel you.
Giving up should not be an option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Giving up should not be an option.
Yeah, that's real.
I'm going to push through.
That's real.
Even in the face of crazy odds, I'm going to push through because I know there's light at the other end of the tunnel and it's not another train coming.
That's right.
So I'm going to keep pushing through.
Yeah, you have no choice. I always say that I feel like failure presumes a finished product. I feel like failure just gives you an opportunity to get it right or to keep working on it, to keep pushing and striving to be the best version of you.
I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, when asked about creating the light bulb, right? I think they said he failed at it 110 times or something.
Crazy.
Right? And when asked about it, he says, I didn't fail 109 times.
Uh-huh.
I found 109 ways of not making the light bulb. But I found one way to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
It's all about how we look at things.
It's all about how you frame it, man.
Yes, and there's so much information in our failings and what we did wrong.
Yeah.
And right or wrong is also perception.
True.
That's true.
It's also perception, how we perceive it.
Yeah. Now, what you do today, do you feel like that's everything that you went through obviously makes up who we are today, right? Mm-hmm. Can you explain to the people like what you do today and how you feel like your journey allows you to basically be great at what you do? Because I know you are.
So, little backstory. So, I grew up in New Haven, the projects. I was second oldest of 4. I tell people I went from DCYS to DOC because I was a product of the foster home system.
Crazy.
I was in group homes. I was raised by my grandmother. I've been in foster homes. So because of that life, I endured a lot of trauma. And as a byproduct of that, growing up in the hood, I developed addictions. I was a full-blown addict. Mm-hmm. When let me also correct something, a statement I said, I stayed away from you guys to protect y'all. Also, I stayed away from you guys to protect my ability to constantly use.
Okay, yeah.
Because let's make no mistake, smoking crack was more important than being a father.
Yeah.
Was more important than being anything. It was more important than eating, showering, or anything. That was my existence, right? I woke up every day or came to every morning wishing I just went quietly in the night.
That's wild.
That was a living hell. So I went through all that, and then, as I mentioned before, how the day I got clean. Mm-hmm. As a result of that and all the prison time I did, because I have 25 felony convictions for about another, I want to say 3 weeks.
Goodness.
Because I was granted a full absolute pardon. It takes about another 3 weeks for my whole prison record and arrest record and convictions to be fully erased.
Crazy.
So by my birthday next month, I should have no history anywhere. Right?
That's awesome, brother.
But there's 25 felony convictions up there. There's a lot of arrests. And today, of getting clean, I went back to school, earned a degree, became certified in addiction counseling as well as mental health. Mm-hmm. I am a program manager of 2 reentry programs. One is called the Waterbury Reentry Welcome Center, with this organization called Community Partners in Action.
Nice.
It's a nonprofit that's been working with prison reform and helping inmates transition from life incarceration to a life after incarceration. And I don't like calling it inmates. I try to use person-first language because they're not inmates.
Absolutely.
They're individuals with criminal justice involvement behind them.
Exactly.
They're an individual first.
Yep.
Put it like this, a little trivia. Mark Twain, the author, was one of their original board members.
That's crazy.
That's how long it's been established.
Insane.
So, and that's what they specialize in. And so I am the program manager of the Waterbury Center, where we help men and women transition. I go back into the same prison that I was housed.
It's crazy.
And do risk assessments on them, do the scores risk assessments with them. I also am the program manager of Hangtime, which is it's a byproduct of the Hall of Change. My buddy Charlie Grady started that, where you get individuals with criminal justice involvement, maybe in a halfway house, in the community leaders, people of the community get together, have real conversation like this, and share a meal.
Yeah.
So I'm the program manager of that. Plus, I'm also the mental health and substance abuse counselor at Urban Community Alliance in New Haven Fatherhood program. So I do that part-time. And I do all that, and I help the exact individuals that I once was. Mm-hmm. Because the only way, the key, if you hired a guide to help you through that Amazon rainforest, mm-hmm. what would be the main attribute that guide need to have?
The experience?
The idea how the hell to get out of that damn rainforest, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A guy need to know where the hell where he's going. So who else better to guide men and women through addiction, prison, that has actually been there?
Yeah.
So, and I'm fortunate to have book knowledge as well as real life experience, lived experience. So I'm uniquely qualified to fit that role. Yeah. And I believe truly I'm on purpose right now. When I say I'm living on purpose, it's not purpose being something intentional.
Yeah.
It's being, I recognize what my purpose is.
Wow. Yeah.
And I live in that purpose. Mm-hmm. I do this on purpose because I truly believe my life was not a cosmic joke, that I went through and endured everything I went through just for some cosmic ha-has and he-he's.
Right.
But actually, I went through it so the next person doesn't have to.
Right.
Or the person that goes through it to instill hope that that's not the end all, because you're not the sum total of the past mistakes you made.
Of course.
There's more facets to every individual, and the only way you can see that is through the actions of others. Believe in me until you can believe in yourself.
That's dope.
Because I automatically believe in you.
No doubt. No doubt. That's a beautiful thing, man, honestly. And I always wondered, man, like, you know, this podcast is called Destined by Design, but I truly in my heart believe that everybody has a destiny.
Yes.
That has been specifically designed for them to be successful. I always wondered, when you tell me these stories, man, and honestly, you are a great storyteller. It always blows my mind. And I always ask the question, how in the hell are you still here? If you could tell me you went on a 30-day crack binge, stole and robbed all these people, and yet you're still here doing what you do. It's an amazing story.
There's more stories than that.
Lord have mercy.
All right, I'll tell you this. There was a guy that I was in jail with. He told me about, he had a backpack. Him and his boys was bagging up. There was a backpack on the top of a car, and somehow it fell off, and it had a half a kilo cooked up and partially bagged, and some crackhead found it and was running around selling it, getting high throughout the city, and they spent like weeks trying to track down this person that did it. He was told I was the person that found it, and he was telling me this story, and I was that person. I was that person that found this bag that just fell off a car, and when they came looking for it, I hid it into a garbage. I hid it into this garbage, not garbage, but this grocery cart with cans, tucked it in there, and I was walking around like I'm collecting cans.
Yeah.
And they was like, "Yo, Gordon, did you see something?" Nah, man.
See
Yo, you got $2, man?
Straight up.
But yeah.
All about my business, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I done.
Life is crazy, bro.
Why I'm here?
Circle, man.
Why I'm here? Because I have a purpose.
Sure.
There's a hedge of protection was placed on me a long time ago, and people prayed for me.
Sure.
In all honesty, because there were many situations that I shouldn't have walked away from.
Yep.
That my life was in jeopardy. Just getting stabbed in prison, like I told you, I was stabbed in prison and left for dead. There were times that my life was threatened. I've stared down a gun more times than I care to remember.
Yeah.
I've had guns jam on me while people were trying to pull the trigger. But I'm still here because he ain't through with me yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. You're being honored September 11th. Do I have that right?
Yes, September 11th. So the same organization, the Hall of Change. So it's called the Grade 8. 4 years ago or longer, they came up with this concept. They want to honor individuals because my buddy Charlie Grady, he heard someone being referred to as a career criminal. And he was saying there's more to this person than just a career criminal.
For sure.
Because he had known him for some years, and he's done amazing things. So what happened was he got together with his buddies, and they came up with this concept of honoring individuals. So they came up with the Grade 8. In Connecticut, there's 8 counties. Mm-hmm. So ideally, they want to get a person from each county every year to honor them as a member of a Grade 8, meaning they have criminal justice involvement, but they got out, changed their life, they changed in the community around them, and they're being a power of example. Yep. So a few of my buddies have been honored in the previous years. I was nominated by 3 individuals. My executive director of my organization, Beth Hines, she nominated me. A good friend of mine, Larice Harvey, has nominated me. And one of my admin assistants, Amelia, she nominated me. And because I'm so known in the recovery community in Connecticut, with recovery, reentry, anything to do with something positive, giving back, my name kind of rings bells in a positive way now.
That's awesome.
So when people hear my name, they know what I have a reputation that precedes me. That's one of positive.
That's awesome.
Positivity. So I was honored. I'm one of this year's Grade 8. So on September 11th, I'll be honored, given a plaque, some other stuff, and my name is going to be forever immortalized on a plaque in one of the oldest prisons in the country.
Crazy.
It's Old Newgate Prison in Glastonbury. It's the first prison in Connecticut. It was originally a prison camp during the Civil War.
Wow. Okay.
So its original holding cell is a coal mine where individuals were shackled to the wall in a coal mine. I've toured that. So in the visiting area, my name, a video biography of me giving a snippet of my story will be put up there where my grandchildren can go up there and they can see Pop. Right. A video of Pop in his name. Yeah. My great grandchildren can go years to come and see who their great grandfather was. Yeah. And that's pretty cool that a person whose inmate number for another few weeks is 217789 will forever have his name and likeness put in one of the first prisons in Connecticut.
It's kind of full circle, man.
For doing the complete opposite.
That's amazing, bro. That's kind of full circle. Like you, stories like that, mate, you just don't hear it, man. You don't hear it, and I think that again, you're a true example of what your life can be, despite how many setbacks, how many times that you've not been the most proud of yourself, or people seeing you in a certain light, but you still got time to make a huge impact on the world and to kind of get those relationships, maybe even talk about the relationship with your daughters, and how they are today. I think so.
I have two daughters, Quanda and Melanie. They're 16 years apart. So Quanda, her life, she went through everything with me. So I used to drop bags of money off of robberies at her house. That's how involved she was with the insanity of her father. Right. So she had wrote me off. My youngest daughter, when I got clean, she was 8 years old. So Melanie never really experienced the insanity known as her father. Yeah. So Melanie's birthday was the 23rd. So we went out to eat. Quanda took us out to eat. And I was sitting across the table looking at my daughters, and I told them, this is the greatest gift that I've received from recovery and changing my life. It's not the accolades and the promotion, the titles, the initials behind my name. Is the fact that I have this amazing relationship with my daughters today.
Absolutely.
That didn't have to work out that way. Yeah. And I have three amazing grandsons. My oldest grandson, he's an asshole. That's because he's 16 and he's smelling himself. He's an asshole. Oh, bro. Sometimes I want to punch him in his face, but
it's hard.
I love him to death. That's my man. I love him to death. But my daughter entrusts. Then I have my other two grandsons. I call him Grump. His name is Jason, and then there's Jackson. I call him Grump and Little Pop. Yeah. My daughter entrusts me with their lives. Yeah. The most precious gift they have. Here is their deadbeat, absentee father that she entrusts with the most precious gifts that she has on this planet. Wow. And that's because of the man that I've evolved into being. And I'm not just their father. They'll tell you, I'm daddy.
That's awesome, bro.
Daddy. And I have this amazing, I talk to him every day.
Oh, really?
Melanie, she's getting better with not just asking me for money, but me and Quanda has conversations. Melanie, she just turned 22, so
yeah, she just
turned 23, so she's at that stage. But me and Quan have real heartfelt conversations, and she's my greatest supporter. Both of them are.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Listen, man, is there anything like that you would just off the top of your head could give to the people, man? Just impart some random knowledge on them. What would it be?
It's not too late.
Okay.
It's not too late. So I was watching this video, and I'm going to share it with you guys after this. And this guy was talking to this crowd at this award ceremony about the passing of his wife. But what he said was, and I'll share this, that take a deep breath. How often you take a deep breath? But if you take a deep breath and exhale, if you can do that, you have the basics of the Brady effect, that Tom Brady effect, right? Yeah, that means it's not over yet. There's time left on the clock. There's time to turn this shit around. You could put numbers on the board and make a difference. Yeah. It's not over. As long as there's breath in your body, you have the ability to turn it around and make a difference, make your name stand for something.
Yeah.
So it's not over. If you're blessed with the opportunity to open your eyes, the hard part was done for you. The rest of the day is gravy. Make the best of it. Make it count.
Straight
and then
up.
move forward. Move forward. No matter what happens, keep moving forward.
That's dope, bro. Straight up. It's easy. It's easy as that. Like you said, the hard part is done, right?
Life is very easy. Life is very simplistic. We complicate the shit out of it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
See, life is simplistic, but a lot of people get easy mixed up with simple.
Facts.
Simple means I do this and this happens. That's very simplistic.
That's real simple, bro.
But between this and that, there's a lot of work that goes in between. That's not easy.
Yeah.
It requires effort. It requires deliberate effort.
Yeah.
But life is very simplistic.
Yeah.
You do this, this happens. Cause and effect.
That's real. That is so real, bro.
I knew this guy, Vinny Ferraro. He was one of my original counselors when I was at Daytop, right? This behavioral concept program. It's crazy. But he used to sit there and say, if you don't want to be a thief, don't steal.
That's real.
You don't want to be a liar? Tell the truth. It was that simple.
Right.
It's very simplistic.
Right.
You don't want this, do something else.
That's real.
I didn't want to die a crackhead. I got clean.
It's dope. Yes.
It's that simple.
That's true, bro. That's true. I guess if only people could really take that and digest it, how easy it is to just make a change today. And that's all it is. Progress, I said it before, progress is just bold, deliberate acts of moving forward. That's all progress is. I mean, you don't have to get it all in one chunk. You're not going to change overnight, right? So just like you said, you don't want to be something. If you're overweight, listen, man, like, start working out. Start taking care of yourself. Yeah, I mean, you have to commit yourself to it. Obviously, what you said, it takes work. It takes effort.
Change is infectious. All you have to do is change one thing.
Yep. That's real.
You don't have to change everything.
Nah, you don't.
Change
Just
one thing.
Yep.
Facts.
And once you see the results of that one thing, you be like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to lose weight. I stopped eating bread. I dropped about 10 pounds. Shit. Imagine if I give up something else.
I give up something else, right?
Imagine if I do this and next thing you know, I'm out there running. I'm not doing that right now. I'm just saying, but that's just an example. Don't get crazy. Don't get these visions in your head that I'm running up and down the street. I only walk from the door to my car. That's about as extent of my exercise. But I'm just saying, right?
I definitely get where you're coming from.
Change one thing, and it's infectious.
It is, though. It is, especially if you start to see the product of your labor.
And it's infectious with the people around you.
That's true, bro.
We we pull in
Yeah, definitely.
people that are reflections of who we are and how we're living.
That's true.
So we get mad at the circle we're in. We attract them. Crazy attracts crazy.
Yeah.
That's real.
So once we start doing something different in our lives, see, people that I used to run with, they're still running out there. I can go to New Haven. They're still out there.
Wow.
They're not drawn to me
Ah.
because I'm total opposite. I kind of repel them now. They're like, nah.
Nah, I'm good on that.
But people trying to change their lives or living the way you
Yeah.
Gravitate.
real recognizes real. You just
100%.
line up with that.
I was
Every
about to say
time,
that.
bro.
Yeah.
You just line. We bond. That's that kindred spirit.
Sure.
So if I'm still attracting negativity, I need to ask myself, what am I doing negative?
Yeah, that's attracting that negativity to me.
Because change has to start within, and it has to start with real honest conversations I hold to myself. And I have to hold myself accountable for my actions. And like when we started this today, it's about having those real conversations, honest conversation with myself, not watered down, acceptable things, platitudes and sayings to make me feel good and sound good. No, I got to be honest with myself.
You said something last night, and me and C alluded to it a couple podcasts ago, when you said that you have to keep a few solid dudes around you because it's imperative that they check you on a lot of your bullshit. Because if you don't have a few solid dudes, like you said, and everybody says, iron sharpens iron, you got to be around a few good men that can say and look you dead in your eye and be like, You wrong, bro.
Yeah, you gotta get that shit together, B.
Cut that shit out. Like, I know you, bro. Like, you could pull the wool over everybody's eye, but I know you. Yeah. You gotta have people around you like that.
I got four solid dudes, but mainly my boy Dante. My boy Dante in Torrington. We have the crazy thing. We have identical lives, childhood, everything, prison, recovery. We even work in the same field.
Oh wow, nice.
Right? But we didn't know each other in New Haven. We was in the same prisons at the same time. And we always said our paths never crossed because it was bad enough with the neighborhood dealing with one of us. Yep. If they had two of us,
crazy.
It would have been madness.
Sure.
But that is my best friend. I can call up D and say some crazy, like the other day I was talking about, if I get this other job working for the state, going in the Department of Corrections as a counselor, working my way up to be a deputy warden, because that's one of my goals, to be a deputy warden of a prison that I was once housed. I'll give up all these extra jobs because I'll make enough money there. And he looked at me and said, who are you kidding? No, you won't. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You ain't comfortable with just being with you. You have to fill up every waking moment with some other stuff.
Crazy.
The same thing my wife Linda tells me. Why you always, the minute you get an opening in your schedule, you fill it up. But that's one of my partners telling me. She can tell me. And she always says it's different when other people tell you, and it's true.
That's true.
The wife can tell me something.
Facts.
I write it off as just her being her. But when one of your partners tell you, and I'm like, yo, that's real.
That's real.
And we have real conversations about that. And I surround myself with an inner circle of men, and I keep it at men.
Yeah.
Because I don't surround myself with women or anything like that. I got cool women friends, but it has to be men because it's that level of identification.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
You need to be able to say something to me and call me on my shit without anything else going on.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt.
And I think it's essential that every man has a circle of men, strong men around him to hold us accountable. We got to.
If not, you start drifting.
Facts.
Yeah. You start drifting, bro. It's like that book I said, like Outwitting the Devil. We talk about drifters.
Yeah.
You need some people to be able to pull you off that path, because if he can get you to drift in one area of your life, you all over the place. Drift in finance, now you drifting in relationships. You drift in relationships, now you drifting elsewhere. You know what I mean? So you got to have that kind of those kind of men in your life. Now, I like that you said that, though.
It's a rarity, though, because this day and age with social media and all these different platforms, people are not looking for friends. They're looking for co-defendants.
Right.
They're looking for someone to sign off on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Straight
It
up.
wants it to be, yo, I feel like doing this. Me too. They're not looking at somebody like, man, you got a wife and kid, man. You got a career. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Or when they recognize, call you and be like, yo, man, what's good with you?
That's real.
No,
That's real.
That recognize, be like, yo, when's the last time you've been to a barbershop? If you one of those dudes that keep a fresh one and all of a sudden weeks go by, your shit's falling apart, they're like, yo, what's really good?
That's real.
We need individuals that know us well enough to call us on that, and not people that just write us off, be like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
No. We need realness in our lives, and it's a rarity nowadays because we live in a society that's all about window dressing.
That's real. T.D. Jakes had a sermon, and I forget what it was, but he was talking about the power of having a circle around you, and he said that you need cut men in your life. It's like going through boxing, man, and I'm a huge boxing fan, so the analogy was basically like life is a fight. You're constantly going out there battling. You're going to get bruised. You're going to get beat up at times. You need a corner that you can go through where you get a huddle of men coming around you, assessing your wounds, telling you where you got hit out there and what you could do better to fight back. Essentially, that's what you need. You need to figure out who are the best cut men in my life and who can I call on to say, yo, I'm struggling with something emotionally. I'm struggling with something physically. You need those cut men in your life to help you assess what's going on, how you're being attacked, and how you can better defend yourself.
And you need to have a solid person that don't care about your feelings, that's willing to throw that towel in to save your life.
To save you, bro.
Even though your ego wants to keep you in that endless,
keep going?
They won't throw that. No,
You're
throw
done.
that towel in.
You're done.
I don't care about you being mad at me because your feelings is not my responsibility.
Yeah.
As a friend, your life
Yeah,
It's
you'll
my
thank me.
It's
later.
my responsibility.
Yeah,
Saving your life.
And you'll thank me. Trust
Yes.
me. You may not like me that night, but you'll thank me in the morning.
You need to have the courage. You need people that have the courage that'll throw that towel in, even
Right.
though they know you ain't gonna speak to them for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Continue with that analogy. The person that threw in the towel probably has some stake in your life too. Mm-hmm. So he's not throwing in the towel because he doesn't believe in you. He's throwing in the towel because he cares about you. And at the end of the day, you guys got more opportunities in life, and he doesn't want to see you just throw it away. And for I guess, what is it, ego that gets in the way? Basically, you don't want to be seen as a failure, which goes back to what you said. It's pure hubris. Who says you're a failure if you got to throw in the towel on this situation? It's just something you got to do in order to make it to the next fight, in order to continue to keep going. Because trust me, man, if you allow yourself and you don't get the right cut men in your life, you will die in the ring.
Yes, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
what it is. You will die, bro. Gordon, I'm gonna tell you right now, this conversation, I feel like it could just continue on and on. And
I told you, man, this is going. Last night we were talking. I said, "Yo, I got a feeling there's going to have to be a part 2, 3, and 4 to this because
I think, bro,
there's no way we can unpack all this in one sit down.
Nah,
It's impossible.
I think
Because
it's
it
impossible.
ties into social norms, addiction, the trauma ties into resilience, ties into the mental health and street violence y'all was talking about previous episodes and all that. It ties into generational curses and all that stuff. It all overlaps.
Sure does, bro.
And in order to really unpack it, you need sessions, and
Yeah.
you can't unpack everything at once.
No doubt, bro.
When
No
you
doubt.
got luggage and you're traveling, you don't open every suitcase at once. You open one thing at a time and take out what you need and put it away, and then go to
Exactly.
the next piece of luggage.
Otherwise, you're gonna be overwhelmed and everything gonna be scattered everywhere.
And then you got shit all over the bed and don't know
and
what to
do. Exactly.
And then what do? We just walk out the
Just
room.
leave it. You be like,
Just
I'll
leave it
fuck
there.
with it later, bro.
Yeah, I
got
get
you.
back to it.
I'll get back to it, bro. Listen, man. If you guys gained anything, and I know you did, man, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it.
Please subscribe.
Guys. Please subscribe to the
Please.
channel.
Yo, get that merch.
Gotta get the merch.
that merch.
www.destinexdesign.com/shop just so you can get to the page, man, so you can shop. Gordon, I appreciate you, bro. I love you. Like I said, man, you're more than just my first cousin, man. You're like my brother. You know what I mean? And I love you and hold you in that regard. And just you coming down here showing the podcast some love, man, that just solidifies the relationship, man.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Straight up. See
Both
what you
you guys,
say,
man.
bro.
I mean, you know me, like
You've been awful quiet.
You've been
man.
quiet,
it's
bro.
because like I was over here thinking like the whole time. I'm like, yo, like, and Wes know me. It's very few that can keep me quiet.
Straight up.
But it's very few. But when you, like you said, when real recognize real, I just become a student.
Yeah.
And that's something that was just installed to me by my father. So when I see somebody that has did something and has made a way and now is completely going back and giving back what they went through, I look at it as can't nobody come up with no excuse.
Sure.
So I'm just over here just taking it all in because like we said earlier when we was talking, I like, why? Why do people always say I got to start over?
Yeah.
You have basically went through, and like Wes kept saying, like, how are you still here?
Yeah.
But now, like, you know, sometimes I have my little moments. When there's a calling on your life, there's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that can take you out of here when there's a bigger purpose.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So the plan and that you're walking in it now, that you're walking in what God has asked you to walk in, you're just getting all the success and reaping everything that you got taken from you, getting it all back just 100-fold.
100.
And just to see that you're getting, you know what I'm saying, that award on the 11th, just think about everything you've done. And you never even thought that you even be getting something like that where people have to praise you.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just like, I'm over here just like, damn.
Yeah, it's a lot, bro.
Yeah, like I'm just over here because, you know, Wes knows I had an uncle, same situation, did a big bid. You know, he got out. He couldn't even, in 18 months, he did everything he said he was going to do. He got out. He got all the cars. He got his dream car. Boom. One night, leaving D.C., he's going down 95, swerves off, gets killed. You see what I'm saying? So to see somebody that is doing everything they said they were going to do after being through all the different obstacles that you've been through, I don't want to hear excuse from anybody.
None. Zero.
You see what I'm saying?
Respect.
So sometimes I have to just sit back. And like I just always been taught, when an OG's talking,
You listen.
it's best that you just listen, because there's something that he's going to say that you need at this very moment to survive. And things that you were saying, sometimes I was like, damn, I need to hear that. Because like you said, it can be the most simplest things that we make so hard.
Sure.
Yes.
And sometimes we are our biggest obstacle.
Yep.
And for me, like you always say, like, why can't we do? Why is it not easy? So if I want to stop lying, tell the truth.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if
that
I'm gonna keep away from these distractions, like I tell Wes all the time, I'm drifting, bro. Mm-hmm. Then why am I going back by them distractions, Wes? You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I think for me, like, man, I just take it all in, bro. Like it's just a lot of things that you said just reside with me, but I just want to give you your flowers while you're
100%.
here. Because Wes has been talking to you about you for months.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I was about to get this whole spread.
Yeah.
So just taking it in, bro, like,
I
and
appreciate
listening
you
to it,
guys.
man, like, man, you definitely have a calling on your life, and it's just getting started.
Straight up.
You know, just listening to you. This podcast is just the beginning of where you're about to go.
Yeah.
Thank
You know what I'm saying? So I just see sky's the limit. Everything that was taken is about to get back 100-fold, just to see how you get back with your daughters. A lot of guys don't get
don't
that
do that.
opportunity. A lot of children don't even let you back in there. Like I got cousins now that won't even let my uncles get near them because of the hurt. So the fact that you get to get that back and then get it with the grandchildren to build what you didn't get with them, I gotta respect it.
100%.
So I'm just saying, man, I'm just giving you your flowers, and I respect everything that you're doing,
Thank you.
bro. It's never going unnoticed. And like, just listen, we definitely got to do another one.
gotta
There's
do
no
another
way.
one.
Anytime.
Yeah, we got to do another one. But I just appreciate you. Yeah, I just had to take it all in, because sometimes you have to see what you see growing up. And then when you see what you see growing up and you see that change is possible and that there's no excuse and you keep moving, that just gives me more motivation.
Straight
You know
up.
what I'm saying? So
100%.
that's what I seen in my neighborhood. So,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So seeing it as a change is possible, I have no excuse. And like I tell Wes all the time, bro, like we're in this thing now. So now we got to just put the time and the effort, and to see everything that you're doing. Like you said, if I even, like your man said, even if you do get that deputy job, bro, you're going to still want to do more. And that's just me in general. Like I got you guys, well, I hustle. That's just what I do. I'm never satisfied, but that's just how I grew up. That's how I was raised. I don't know no other way. Like even if we had it all, I still ain't satisfied. And I'm not saying it's a selfish thing, but when you that glue of your family, you got no choice. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm just grateful for you, brother. Like you got a calling on your life that I don't even think that, man, like New Haven might know you, but I think it's time for the world to understand
Straight
who Gordon
up.
is, bro.
Yeah, that name got a ring.
Yeah, bro. And I think this
you.
is just the first.
It's a step.
Yeah, this is just the first, man. Because stories like that, we don't get to see. Our young brothers don't get to see that. You know what I'm saying? They only see one thing.
Sure.
That you got to rap, that you got to play ball. They don't see that there's other obstacles you can take to get out and make change. So just listening to the story, I was really just a student. I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
So now I respect you. I give you your flowers, brother. Much respect. Got to do it again. Gotta
So
do it again.
anytime, like I told Wes from the day one, anytime. Matter of fact, I think it was right after you guys' first podcast. I told him, I said,
Sure did.
yo, anytime you need me,
I'm there.
call me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm there.
No doubt.
No.
And when he said, yo, cuz, second season, yada, yada, boom,
Let's do it.
let's go. And he was like, yo, send me, what's your dates? I'm available these dates. Send me a biopic, yada. And I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
I send you my itinerary, mapped out the time, the weekend that works with my schedule.
Boom.
Here I am. And
We set,
I'll
man.
do it again.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
I
Much
appreciate
respect.
that. But listen, man, again, if you guys haven't already followed the channel, man, follow the channel, please, man. Also follow us on Instagram, Destined by Design Podcast, man. Listen, bro. Go on and tell them what the slogan is, bro.
Hey, man, I don't even know if I even want to say it no
I
more.
know,
Go to-
bro.
You got to.
Go
You
to-
got to.
just
You
got
got
to,
to.
bro.
But at the end
Change
of
it up.
Hey, at the end of the day, y'all know me. Failure is not an option. The hustle's not going to stop, and we can't stop, won't stop. We out this thing.
You
man.
already know,
Appreciate
man.
y'all, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
I'm C.
Wes, man, my cousin Gordon, man.
Yes,
Gordon
sir.
Lyde,
Pleasure. It's a
man.
pleasure. It's a
Appreciate
pleasure.
y'all.
It's a
Peace,
pleasure.
y'all, man. Peace.
I'm out here breaking curses, digging and feeling myself while keeping my head above the clouds and trying to stay out of a cell. Yeah, always on my grind, putting good food in my mind. Here's one for the books, like it was destined by design. Yeah, Destined by Design podcast.